Hello, everyone, and welcome again to a mini-Shiur on Mishle. Trying not to lose the momentum, trying to keep us on track. Another Shiur and continuing in Perek Hey, chapter 5. And I'll put on the screen the first few psukim we're going to do. We're in the middle of the Perek already. Just get that here. Okay. So the next psukim we're going to do say as follows. V'amarta ech saneti musar. And I said, and you said, how I have hated discipline or rebuke. V'tochachat na'atz libi. And I spurned any rebuke. It's not just I hated being told what to do, but I pushed it off. I rejected it. V'lo shamati b'kol morai. I didn't listen to uh, I didn't listen to the words of my teacher. V'li melamdai lo hititi ozni. And to my instructors, I didn't incline my ear. I didn't pay attention. You'll notice also says ozni, my ear, not oznai, not my ears. I'm not really going to talk about that later, so I'll mention just now. It's like I didn't even listen with half an ear. It's like, okay, I'm kind of sort of paying, not even one ear at all. Kimat hayiti bechora, b'toch kahal ve'eda. I was in very deep trouble amongst all my people. So we need to talk about what exactly is going on here with this particular set of psukim. So right now what's happening is Mishle, i.e. Shlomo HaMelech, is giving voice to the person after a collapse. That's pretty much what we saw in the last class that we're talking about after a personal collapse. And this is very powerful here because it's the sinner himself who becomes the speaker. It's not Shlomo telling the person who's done wrong things what to do, but rather he's telling it's the speaker himself now. The sinner himself is talking. And the tragedy here is not ignorance. It's definitely not ignorance. What it is, it's a recognition that comes way too late. What's that recognition? That it's not that I didn't know. I knew, but I rejected. And in addition to that, there was guidance. Everywhere I went, there was someone to guide me, but I ignored it. Radak emphasizes that the speaker here, again, had access to teachers, had access to rebuke, to truth, but chose otherwise. That's proactively deciding, I don't want to do X. I don't want to serve Hashem. I don't want to be religious. I don't want to fill in the blank. So this is not a failure of knowledge. It's a failure of a person's will. Now, there are people, of course, who are unable to keep Torah mitzvot properly because they just don't know. They grew up in a community, in a family where Torah is not just that it's not important, it's not mentioned at all. And they are called a tinok shenishba. Literally means a child that's been taken captive. That's a halachic term that a person who doesn't have any background, has no history, has no learning, and let's say that person passes away after 120 years, they didn't do anything. So it's not their fault per se that they didn't do things, and they can't be held to the same standards that a person who does know and is not doing the right thing. So here, the speaker himself in Mishle is admitting, look, I really messed up. I had teachers, I didn't pay attention to them. I had speakers, I didn't listen to them. I rejected. And then comes the devastating line. The consequences of what I've done wrong, I'll be the speaker here in Mishle, the consequences of what I've done wrong are now public. So that David mentions or explains that was hidden now becomes exposed. And what does that mean? Shame enters the picture. There's a midrash that adds a certain note about this particular set of psukim. It says, what happens, sin isolates a person internally, whereas they know they're doing something wrong. Let's say, bonagid, that's not a good example, Let's say I never bench. I never bench. Who knows that? Me. I know that it isolates me. Other people might be benching and that's what they're doing, or I don't do X, whatever it might be, and they're doing it. I'm isolated on that item internally. But eventually, what happens is this becomes exposed externally, And the collapse moves us from something private to something communal. Again, it doesn't happen with every single Avera, with everything we do wrong, but things somehow have a way of coming out. Let's take a look at the next set of psukim. Shte mayim miborecha. Drink water from your own cistern. Notice the word bor. V'nozli mitoch be'erecha. And running water from your own well. A be'er is a well. A bor is a pit or cistern. We'll see what this is. Yafutzu ma'inotecha chutza. Your springs will gush forth in streams. V'rechavot palgei mayim. That in the streams will gush forth in public square. They will be yours alone, and others will have no part in you. Let your fountain be blessed. We have these two psukim in red because we're going to talk about them. And find joy in the wife of your youth. A loving doe, a graceful mountain goat, let her breast satisfy you at all times. Be infatuated with love of her always. If you have learned and read Shir HaShirim, you know that Shlomo HaMelech uses a tremendous amount of imagery of an erotic nature. Here, in a very brief passage, he mentions something small, something brief, I should say. And we're going to see what is it he's trying to tell us in all these psukim. What exactly is his point? After destruction, I'm talking about from Averot, internal destruction, collapse. What's the next step? What's he telling us here? Now he's kind of speaking back. Let's say the person has said, those two psukim before, said, I have really messed up. I didn't pay attention to my teachers. I refused rebuke and all that other stuff. Now what's the response that Shlomo HaMelech is giving, the Isha Chacham? He's giving us not the idea of asceticism. If you look at the beginning of Mesilat Yesharim, the Ramchal points out that people think that to do tshuva, you have to go into the mikvah, a freezing cold mikvah, and to do fasting. He says, that's not the way you do it. It's about redirection. This is here what Shlomo HaMelech is doing, is redirecting the person who has, in fact, messed up. The imagery shifts. The imagery shifts now to water. Why water? Water, we know, is a mashal for Torah. Chaim. We talk about mayim chaim. Water flows. Water is living. Water always seeks to stay grounded, come down. The Malbim says that the words bor and be'er, which was a pit or cistern and a well, refer to internal protected source. The picture that the Torah is being protected in there. Mayanot, Yafutzu Mayanot Chutza and Palgei Mayim is about outwardly flowing. So the desire is not rejected. You can see this in a minute. Desire of something in life is not rejected, but it's channeled in a different way. What does that mean? That there's corrective action that needs to be taken. Intimacy requires boundaries, very much so. And smach me'eshet nurecha is about joy. It's not about restraint. Judaism is not about asceticism. Judaism does not reject the idea of sex. Judaism does not reject the idea of a man and a woman wanting to be together and enjoying each other's company, so to speak. It doesn't reject it. It's not like in the church where sex is looked at as dirty. God forbid. And that's how many people grow up with a terrible image or self-image and perspective of what sex is. The sensual language here is deliberate. Midrash Mishle tells us that the Torah is trying to emphasize to us, or the Mishle says the Torah is emphasizing to us, Torah does not deny human desire. What it does do is it sanctifies it, intensifies it within a proper framework. This is a kind of a crucial corrective measure to misunderstanding. The problem in the first psukim of this parak, which we didn't mention today, but just last time, was not about desire. It was about misdirected desire. It says in Gemara and Shabbat that a person who's born, there's about astrology in Shabbat, Masechet Shabbat, a whole Gemara, which into our modern ears may sound very strange, that a person who's born under the sign of Madim, which is Mars, the word Madim is Mem Aleph, Daled Yud Mem, and the word Adam or Adom, or has the word Dam, says he's going to end up being a person who involves himself in blood. Now, it could be he's a killer, could be he's a shochet, could be he's a moel. Again, it doesn't mean everyone who's born in that under the star, the sign is going to be that, but there's some connection. But the point being that with everything we have in life, and almost literally everything, it could go one of two ways. It could go a wrong way. Fire can be used to burn something down. Fire can be used to cook. Money can be used to destroy. Money can be used to give tzedakah and build. And that's true with everything. So there is this idea that the Shlomo Melech is telling us that in the beginning of this parak, and all your things you've messed up with, especially when it had to do with man-woman relationships, there's corrective measures. And that is to look inward, to look towards your own family, to look towards your own wife and your own relationship. But take a look at a slide here. Okay. I'm come back to this one in a minute, actually. Just leave that up there for a couple more minutes. There is a concept in Tanakh, which appears in other literature, but Tanakh is not literature, so I can't even use that word. And that is especially in Tanakh, where the ideas of Torah words actually connect either directly or in a linguistic connection. And we had a pasuk here. It said, Yehi, where was it here? Let me take a look at the pasuk. It said, Yehi mekorcha baruch. Let your source be blessed. What does that even mean? It means that you're the one who's going to do good for you, your spouse, that she be blessed. That's why it also says, Usmach me eshet nurecha, to find joy in the wife of your youth. But these words, Yehi mekorcha baruch, may sound a little familiar to you, because Ashkenazim just read Megillat Ruth on Shavuot, and you're going to come across a pasuk that sounds very similar. So Naomi is looking out, and coming towards her is Ruth, and she's bringing all this wheat. She's got all this food, and so Naomi says to her, "Efoli katet hayom, where did you glean today? Va'ana asit, and where did you do these things?" And she says, "Yehi makirech baruch, may the one who recognized you be blessed." And then she tells her, of course, that it was Boaz. So you have two phrases. They're not spelled the same. We're going to see what the difference is. One in Ruth says, Yehi makirech baruch, with a kaf. And here we have Yehi mekorcha baruch. May your source, your makor, be blessed. So what is going on here? At first, it doesn't sound like they're connected at all. They're homonyms, big deal. They're different roots as well. Makor is a source. It's a wellspring. It's something deep. It's something that generates another item. A makir is one who recognizes, one who notices, one who sees, one who responds. So what's the connection? Perhaps, maybe, this is exactly the issue that we're talking about here. There's a real connection between these two psukim and the ideas they're both trying to tell us, and we can connect them. What is a makor? What is a source? It's something pnimi, something that's internal, hidden beneath the surface. Let's say, for example, we say, what's the source of the natural gas you have in your oven or your stovetop? It's not like you see the natural gas sitting outside. It's underground. It's in a canister. It's hidden beneath the surface. A makor is the wellspring, a wellspring of life, potentially, of identity, of potential. Something that's not always visible. A person can carry within them tremendous depth, tremendous greatness, tremendous dignity, and still be unseen. People can walk right by them and not know the genius of this individual, the gadlut of the individual, the sidkut, the person being such an unbelievable individual. It's not like he wears a little high. David Schmo, I'm genius at large. What's a makir? Someone who has the capacity to see beyond the surface, not just to look, but to recognize and to identify the hidden worth in another person. So maybe we could suggest the following idea. I'm going to say it in Hebrew first. Hahakara migala itamakor. Recognition reveals the source. The makor exists. It exists. For example, the water, the Torah that is in somebody that may exist in potential or even in real, but without a makir, it may remain concealed. Someone may have a tremendous capacity to come up with some unbelievable chidushim on Torah and insights into Torah. But if someone doesn't recognize it, the person doesn't share it, it still remains in that individual. And suddenly comes along the story of Ruth, and we take on a new depth to this idea. Boaz doesn't merely give Ruth food. He doesn't just perform an act of chesed. What does he do? He recognizes her. He sees her not just as a poor Moabite woman, a Moaviyah, but someone of extraordinary courage, loyalty, destiny. He's aware of what happened with Naomi and Elimelech. He sees her makor. He sees her inner greatness. He sees the source that's within her. And so Naomi blesses him, Boaz, Yehi makircha baruch. Blesses the one who now knows to recognize the amazing person that's hidden inside of you. So we come back to Mishle with a deeper appreciation. Yehi makircha baruch, may your source be blessed, means blessing on its own is not complete. Because a person's makor can be blessed. I'm not. I might be blessed with tremendous insights into Torah and depth and all, but if it's just potential and it's there and it's not shared and no one can see it, it's good for me, but it's not good for me on the outside. It's not good for the rest of the world. So you might say, Lo dai sheyeh adam makor. It's not enough that a person should have a source. Tzarich sheyeh lo makir. So you need a makor and a makir. You need a source and one to recognize it. Maybe an example could be on the grand scale is the beginning of Parshat Vayetze. It says in the beginning of Parshat Vayetze, Yaakov mi Beersheva vayelech Haran. So Yaakov leaves Beersheva, goes to Haran. Vayifka b'makom vayalan shem balayla. I taught the Parsha a couple of times. Let's see if I do it by heart. So he goes to the spot and he goes to sleep. Vayachalom, and he has a dream. V'nei sulam mutzav arza. And he sees this ladder going up to the sky. And he has this dream, and he sees the malachim going up and down. He wakes up. He says that something very important just happened. What does he say? He said that this is the Shara Shamayim v'anochi lo yadati. This is the gateway to heaven, and I was unaware. This spot, says Yaakov Avinu, had a special potential. That spot was a makor for my tefillot, for my desires, for my life, for everything to go up to Shamayim, to go this. The Shara Shamayim, I wasn't even aware. But now that I'm aware, something changes from this source. I'm sure all of you have, at one time or another, gone on a tiyul, and you pass something you've passed 100 times before, 1,000 times before. I know we've done it myself. My wife and I will walk by, take a little walking tour somewhere in Yerushalayim. Oh, on a street we've gone through 100 times. And then you stop and you read something, or you print something out, you look at it, you see it on your phone, say, wow, I never even realized that. But the potential, this amazing spot there is right here. And that's just about a location. Now we're talking about people. People you pass, you walk in the city, you walk in wherever you're walking by people who have maybe tremendous potential. And it's their makor, it's in the source. But Mishle is telling us we need someone to recognize it to bring that out. Which is why very often when someone publishes a book, I had many people say to me, Baruch Hashem, when I published various things, they'll say, Yafutzu ma'ayonotecha chutza. May your well springs gush outward. Meaning, instead of you keeping it inside, all these words, these ideas and thoughts, now they come forward for other people as well. So we'll take a look at one more slide here. Oh no, I did already. That's the slide I want to look. But we can say now again the connection between makir and makirech and mekorach. Okay. In addition to that, we have to ask ourselves. Again, Mishle is not just about parables. It's about giving us lessons in life. How many people carry within themselves some depth, great depth, or pain, greatness, potential? But it remains locked inside because no one takes the time to really see that individual. Boaz is teaching us the greatest chesed is not that he's giving somebody food, not giving Ruth food, but what he was able to perceive, to be a makir, to be one who can reveal that which is hidden. When we do that, we are not only blessing the individual, we are also fulfilling the vision of Mishle, that the sources within people, the sources within Am Yisrael, the sources within the world should be seen and revealed. Obviously, I'm going to leave it with this today. The greatest revelation one needs to do this with is with Hashem. Hashem is everywhere, right? The question is, do we see him everywhere? I said many times, and I did finally find a source for it, that when we say the word Yirat Hashem, which we translate as the fear of Hashem or the awe of Hashem, I also say it has to do with Re'iyah, seeing, that we have to see Hashem in everything. The more we see Hashem in absolutely everything, in our day-to-day lives, not just in shul, not just in doing a mitzvah, but in everything, the more he is revealed in this world. And part of our job in this world is the extension of the revelation of Hashem in this world. So where we take these couple of psukim, which should go back for a second till we started, these psukim here, sounded very nice, very flowery, but we tachlis are really telling us it's a challenge to all of us, not just that we have to see about bringing out our own talent, bring out our own thoughts, ideas, but also to see it in other people and ultimately see it in Hashem as well, so we can appreciate that relationship. Wish you all a wonderful day. Depending when you're hearing this and seeing this, a Shabbat Shalom, because it'll be Shabbat here soon, and all should be well. Shabbat Shalom.